Oh, yeah.
God. Is it your team?
Yeah, I have my glasses. I can't read. Over if the judges are there, and the judges are there, can you put over there?
Okay, all right, so, okay, also, opposite side as well, where.
Yeah, we're at common. Thank you.
Hey. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Fine. Right here. Yeah, right. Do you guys have a plan of with one was presider, which one was witness?
Witness desire.
Okay, cool. And come back, you'll have another judge. Just a reminder that between witness 1 and witness 2, race category 1, category 2, there's a 15-minute break. I'm gonna check on the other room and then we're all good to start.
Morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and people participating today. So appearances, please. Starting with the plaintiff.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Cole Alfonso, and today I'm joined with my good friend and colleague, Miss Hannah Lay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
And together we represent the plaintiff in today's proceedings, Mr. Emerson Rajan. Good morning, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Mitchell Leander, and these are my co-counsel.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Zoe Howard. Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Krisha Mehta. Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Zibba Schnippet.
Together, we represent the defendant in today's case, Mr. Teddy Mothersbaugh.
Thank you. Let's go over housekeeping matters, starting with the plaintiff.
Yes, Your Honor. First, we'd like to move to invoke Rule 603 and 615, constructively sequestering all witnesses and swearing them in prior to them testifying.
Yes, Your Honor, sounds good with us.
Second, Your Honor, we'd like to clarify for the court, the plaintiff in this case is the estate of AJ Maloney. Now, because Mr. Maloney is currently in a coma, he's unable to be with us at council table. The Mr. Maloney's boss, that is Mr. Emerson Rajan. He's the administrator of the estate. He's the one that's bringing this action to court today. With that, we're ready to go right to opens.
Just a couple things for you, Your Honor. Seeing as we've never had the pleasure of being in your courtroom before, I wanted to ask your preferences for movement about the well. Should we state for the record or ask permission when asking opposing witnesses, the bench, or opposing counsel?
You can dispense with requesting permission. The well is a little bit different because we're a classroom, obviously. But otherwise, no, permission is not needed.
Yes, Your Honor.
I want to go back, restate the stipulation regarding swearing.
Then there will be no bailiff with us today, actually raising the right hand and swearing it in. It already happened before we all walked in. Construct.
All right, so that means all witnesses that testify are already pre-sworn.
Yes, Your Honor.
Penalties of perjury.
Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor. I just have a couple of more things I want to bring your attention to before we get started today. The first is stipulation 8, which will be on that stipulation tab. It should be on the 6th page of the binder in front of you. It's going to be on the very first page of stipulations at the bottom.
Got it.
Perfect. All this says is that before we came today, both parties agreed not to object to any 401 or 403 issues with the examinations of Umi Darwish or Nova Stone, who will both be testifying today.
But not as to the other two.
Yes, Your Honor, exactly. And then I just have one more thing for you.
That's our understanding, Your Honor. Both parties have waived both of those objections.
All right, stipulation 8 is accepted by the court. What's the next?
The next is just a pretrial order. It's going to be pretrial order 4. Should just be 2 pages after that, Your Honor, at the very bottom of that page.
Yes, this relates to Rule 702.
Yes, Your Honor. All this says is that 2 witnesses who are testifying today, Talbot Meyer and Leighton Gwilt, they can already testify to the conclusions contained within their report without laying any of that necessary 702 foundation you might see in another courtroom. So as long as it's only those conclusions in their report.
Just a brief note, Your Honor, they're still allowed to do so if they so choose.
Absolutely, Your Honor.
All right, pretrial order number 4 is entered.
And with that, defense is ready to proceed to opening statements, Your Honor.
As are we.
Okay, let's get started.
This case is about a violent vigilante. Let's go back to July 20, a year ago today. Dr. Talbot Meyer is in the emergency room. He is horrified. He's looking down at the body of a bouncer from the Hellfire Lounge. Today, we know that bouncer was AJ Malone. But back that night, he was unrecognizable. You'll hear his ribs were caving into his chest. His brain was bleeding into his skull. Injuries all over his body, consistent with this camera. You'll learn. That bouncer was attacked by a violent vigilante. You'll learn that violent vigilante was the defendant. That's why today, we've got a claim of battery against that defendant. That means we have to prove it was the defendant who intentionally beat that bouncer into a coma. Here's the thing. The evidence against the defendant was so overwhelming that 15 minutes before this trial started, they actually admitted it was him who was that violent vigilante. They've already admitted it was him who attacked that bouncer. So today, the question you have to answer is whether or not that attack is justified. The defense, they're going to be telling you that the defendant attacked this bouncer in defense of someone else, but that means they also took on a burden. They had to prove to you more likely than not that that violence was proportionate and it was in response to an immediate threat. They won't be able to do that because of two witnesses. First, you're going to hear from an eyewitness that attack. The street performer, Louis Darwish. He's going to show that this attack wasn't in response to a threat. The defendant was the threat. You'll learn that eyewitness overheard the defendant claiming this attack with a journalist, talking about how he would lure that bouncer out into the alley and ambush him. Then, you're going to learn how the defendant followed through on that. Because you're going to hear from an expert, Dr. Talmeyer. See, the court was so enamored by Mr. Meyer's qualifications, they've already agreed to his qualification as an expert. 15 years of experience in the field, published at the top. He's going to tell what that attacker did. Because Dr. Meyer, he was there that night, in the emergency room, treating that bouncer. He's going to tell you about the severity of that attack. He'll show that violence wasn't just disproportionate, it was brutal. We expect the defense, they'll call some witnesses of their own. Another eyewitness, another dog. We expect they'll be pretty charming. But I'll let you in on the secret. Because you're gonna learn. Behind that charm, that eyewitness, they're gonna have to admit they were pounding back drinks the night they saw the attack. And that expert mishandled, potentially destroyed key pieces of evidence in this case. By the end of this trial, it's going to be this attack was unlawful, unconscionable. So we're going to come down to those two witnesses we'll bring. The eyewitness who will show you the defendant's cunning, and the expert who will show you the defendant's cruelty. This defendant was a violent vigilante. That's why we're going to ask you to find him live for bad. Thank you.
Opening, Your Honor. Please report.
The defendant didn't start a fight. He tried to stop. On the night of July 20th, 2024, an employee at a local nightclub was injured. It's true what Ms. Lake told you. You'll learn today that what happened to AJ Maloney that night at the Hellfire Lounge was sport. No rampage by a violent vigilante. It was an attempt by someone to protect another person who was within inches of losing their life. You see, a year ago today, Ali Uchida, a young journalist, arrived at the Hellfire Lounge with her partner, Teddy Mothersbaugh, to investigate a crime. You see, rumors of drug trafficking at that local lounge had been going on for a year. So she decides to investigate. And she arrives at that lounge. When she walked in through those nightclub doors that night, she had no idea how that night would end. She had no idea that her life would be in danger. She had no idea she would barely make it out of the club. Because you see, when she's inside of that club investigating, she gets caught by an employee, AJ Maloney. AJ chases her into the alley of that nightclub, throws her up against a wall, and beats her over and over and over again. And when her partner Teddy Mothersbaugh sees this happen, he does what any reasonable person would do. He grabs the closest weapon he can find, and he intervenes. And he rescues her. Now, members of the jury even agreed with Miss Leon's reasons. They agreed that it was Teddy Mothersbaugh who caused AJ Maloney's injuries. What we disagree with is why. Because the law, while it does protect people who get injured in physical altercations, it also protects people who act in defense of others. That's why we've taken on the burden to prove an affirmative defense today. All that means is we have to show you three things more likely than not. First, that Ali Uchida was in imminent danger that night at the club. Second, that Teddy Mothersbaugh had a reasonable inference of danger to Ali Uchida. And third, that Teddy Mothersbaugh acted in defense in a way that was proportionate to the danger Ali Uchida faced. We'll meet up. Because you'll hear exactly how violent that attack on that journalist was. We'll also bring eyewitnesses. Nova Stone, she'll take the stand and tell you how she saw AJ Maloney, that employee, chasing that journalist down the alleyway, threatening to brutally attack her. You'll learn that this eyewitness sees Teddy Mothersbaugh, witnesses, and only steps in after AJ strikes. You won't just have to take Nova Stone's word. Because we'll also bring an expert, a forensic scientist who investigated the crime scene after the incident. He'll tell you that the blood evidence at the scene, it doesn't suggest that Teddy Mothersbaugh was a violent, rampaging vigilante. No. He was just a bystander who saw something violent happen and stepped in that. Members of the jury. Teddy Mothersbaugh isn't the violent vigilante the plaintiff wants you to be. The defendant didn't start. He saved a life. That's why at the end of this trial, we'll ask that you find Teddy Mothersbaugh not violent. Plaintiff called Uli Darwish. Stand. Mr. Darwish. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
Sure, hello, my name is Umi Darwish. It's very nice to meet you all.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a street performer. I'm no one-trick pony. You know, I do music, I do magic. I love doing impressions.
You got a favorite impression?
Yes, we are in America, so Barack Obama. My fellow, my my fellow Americans, today we're in court. Let me be clear, Michelle, she doesn't like court.
Mr. Darwish, how'd you get into that line of work?
Well, when my mother and I came from Lebanon, it was very hard to find work, but I've always loved performance. Or as my mother knows, I started my own business. You know, I am my own boss and my only employee.
Sir, where do you typically perform your work?
So, I work near the Hellfire Lounge. It's a club not too far from here, and they only take cash. So it's a perfect place for me to get tips from drunken Americans.
Sir, how long have you been performing near the Hellfire Lounge?
My mother, she knows I proudly started my business in 2002.
Are you familiar with the people who work there?
Oh, yes, sure. I know myself very well.
Sir, I mean the people at the lounge. Are you familiar with them?
Oh, it's Hellfire Lounge. Oh, yes, I've been there a few times. There's the owner, Rajan. Sometimes he lets me perform there. It's very nice.
Do you know who AJ Maloney is?
Oh, it's a bouncer outside. Yes, I know AJ.
Sir, why did you decide to come testify today?
On July 20th of last year, I saw something very disturbing while I was working. I thought I could come in and help.
I want to talk about the night of July 20th. Try to figure out whether or not the defendant was stalking at night or starting.
Okay,
What were you doing outside Hellfire then?
well, I was performing. You know, I was practicing my Taylor Swift impression. You know, all the midnights and the never getting back together again. And yes, I was there.
Did you see anything unusual while you were performing?
And $100 bill. Oh, I also saw two people that I knew from before. One of them, a reporter, Ali Uchida, and I also saw their partner, Teddy Mothersbaugh. I saw them near the alleyway of the Hellfire Lounge.
You said you knew these people from before. Where'd you know them from?
I used to be an informant for the police. I work on the corner. I see a lot of things. Like, and well, I guess Ali and Teddy Mothersbaugh, they didn't really like this very much. So,
Objection, Your Honor, to speculation.
Yes, Your Honor. We believe if the witness is about to finish his question, he'll say that the defendant and their partner published the identity of this witness in the paper. He's not speculating as to whether or not they actually liked or didn't like it. He's going to go on to testify as to what he did, what they did to him.
Please rephrase the question.
Yes, Your Honor. Sir, how is the defendant and that journalist related to your work as a confidential informant?
They published a news article about me, exposing me as this informant and, well, you know, no longer confidential. So I could no longer work as an informant, and I lost a bit of income as a street performer. It made things a little tough for me.
All right, sir, going back to July 20th. Did you hear the defendant and that journalist talking about anything?
I did. The reporter, Ali Darwish, she said that to Mothersbaugh, she said, I'm going to lure them out right here. Be ready.
Objection, Your Honor, to hearsay as to the statements of Ali Uchida.
Response, Your Honor. Your Honor, the statements that are on the record right now, I'm going to lure them out here, be ready. I'm going to lure them out here. That's a plan or intent under 8033. So it falls under that exception. Be ready is a command. So there is no truth value to that.
Your Honor, I believe that that this doesn't fall under the exception in 3.3 that opposing counsel is citing. I agree that be ready is a command, but I don't think that that's forward thinking enough to meet the exception.
Objections overruled, the exception applies.
Sir, you said you heard that journalist tell the defendant, I'm going to lure them out here, be ready. Did you hear anything else?
So don't make it too messy. We still have to be able to talk to them.
How'd the defendant respond?
They nodded. And then they got into some black sports car.
Did you see that car again?
I did, a little while later, but this time, out of this black sports car, I saw somebody come out wearing a mask and a costume.
That masked person, where did you see them go?
I don't really know, but a little bit later. I'm working on the corner and then I hear lots of screaming and thuds coming from the alleyway.
What'd you do?
I mean, I tried to go towards the alleyway and as I'm walking there, I mean, some guy comes up to me, he says, do the Obama, do the Obama. I said, no, man, move, they're screaming. So I kept going, I got to the alley.
What'd you see?
The guy in the costume, the mask, the costume, he ran away. I looked down to the ground. See, Maloney, the bouncer. They're laying on the ground. I talked to him, I said, what you doing, man? You're laying on the ground. He's not responding to me. Then I realized he was bleeding. I tried to shake him, I see he's bleeding everywhere on the ground. I didn't know what to do.
So when you saw the bouncer laying on the floor bleeding, do you remember seeing anything else nearby?
Here's the bouncer's body. There was a hammer. A hammer covered in blood.
I'm approaching this witness with exhibit 7, which would be admitted in this case.
I don't want to touch it.
Okay, sir, just have to make sure it's the same one. That hammer, is that the same hammer you saw lying on the floor next to that bouncer?
Yes, it is. I would never forget it.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, I've got nothing further.
Self-examination, Your Honor. Mr. Darwin, just got a few questions for you, if that's all right.
Sure, how are you? Very nice to meet you.
I'm doing well, sir. How are you doing today?
I was promised free lunch today, but I still have not found.
I hope you're able to find something to eat after we're done, okay?
Thank you.
You hope that Teddy Mothersbaugh goes to jail.
Yes, I heard that they may be behind this attack that puts this bouncer in a coma. Of course, I hope they go to jail if they did.
Right, you just heard that, right?
Right? I mean, I saw them in the alleyway.
I sure want to be clear what happened, because on direct you mentioned that you saw something that night, right?
Yes, I saw a lot.
You didn't see the fight though, did you?
No, I just saw the bouncer on the ground. After the costume man ran away.
I want to stay focused on that fight. You didn't see it.
No, ma'am.
You didn't see how it started.
No.
You don't know who started it.
I'm sorry, I could not tell you.
You don't know who hit harder.
All I saw was the hammer. I don't know who hit hard.
What you did see was you saw the serpent go into that alley while you were out on the street performing, right?
Serpent?
You saw that masked individual go into the alley while you were performing.
That's right.
You identified that person as the serpent, don't you?
I identified this person as the Teddy Mothersbaugh. I think they called this person the vigilante as serpent.
Mr. Harwish, is it your testimony that you don't call that individual the serpent?
Right, this is their name. I did not give them the name.
I'm not asking you if you gave them the name, I'm asking you, you know who that is, and it's the serpent, right?
Sure.
Mr. Mothersbaugh, you're the one testifying, is it the serpent?
Not Mr. Mother.
Mr. Darwish, you're the one testifying,
Yes,
it was the serpent.
sure, that's what they call it.
After you saw them go into the alley, you kicked over your tip bucket,
Yes,
change went everywhere,
yes,
it took you 10 minutes to pick it up.
right,
By the time you were done picking up your change, the serpent was running out of the alley.
right. The one in the costume, I saw them running out. I went in, and then I see the bouncer on the ground.
Right, despite not knowing what happened while you were picking up that change, you still want to Mothersbaugh to go to jail, right?
If they hurt this bouncer, of course, he's in a coma, man.
Right, you don't know if he hurt the bouncer.
He ran out to the alleyway, the bouncer's left on the floor. Okay, maybe I don't know for certain, but this is how I feel.
I want to focus more on how you feel about Mr. Mothersbaugh because you've got a history with him, don't you?
Sure, I know Mr. Mothersbaugh. He wrote this article on me.
Actually, Alexi wrote that article on you, right?
All right, they are partners.
Right, it wasn't Mr. Mothersbaugh.
All right, they came up to me one time, even in person. Grabbed me by the shoulder.
One moment. Please carefully listen to the question. Answer the question. You can add commentary, but please answer it. State the question, please.
Yes, Your Honor. It wasn't Mr. Mothersbaugh who wrote that article, was it?
No, I guess not. Sorry, it's my first time in court.
Okay, Mr. Darwish. You're not fond of Mr. Mothersbaugh, to be clear.
Not at all. They physically aggressed me once.
Well, actually, you dislike them so much that you're testifying against them voluntarily.
Right, I saw a lot. I thought I could help today.
You saw a lot?
Yes, ma'am. I saw a man laying bleeding on the ground.
But you're not testifying, you're testifying against Mr. Mothersbaugh, right?
Yes, if that's how this works, yes.
It's the one person you hope goes to jail.
Yes, if they hurt somebody, of course.
You didn't see them do anything.
Directly, no.
You blame Mr. Mothersbaugh for your financial troubles that you're currently experiencing.
Once I lost my job as an informant, yes, I blame him.
Right, like you told us on direct examination, you used to be an unauthorized confidential informant, right?
No, I was authorized by the police. They hired me.
The article that was published said you were unauthorized, right, Mr. Darwish?
That's what the article said.
Right, even though Alexi wrote that article, you're pretty sure it was the defendant who helped rat you out.
Yes, I think they worked together as partners. That's how I saw them that evening.
Right, you just saw them together?
Right, and before, when they physically addressed me, they worked together.
I'm just asking you if you saw them together. You saw them together, Mr. Darwish?
Yes, ma'am.
And now you've lost that source of income as an unauthorized confidential informant.
Yes.
It's been pretty tough on you.
Street performer, yes.
I want to talk about someone else who you have a different opinion of, okay?
Okay,
Let's talk about the serpent for a second. You know they're a vigilante.
yes.
You approve of their work, though.
They go around town helping old ladies cross the street, paying parking tickets.
Excuse me, I think the question, who, possibly yes or no, and then repeat the question, please.
Yes, Your Honor. You approve of the serpent's work, don't you?
Sure, yeah. They help people,
Right, you think they make people feel safe?
yes,
Think that financially benefits you?
of course.
Would your opinion of Mr. Mothersbaugh change if I told you that him and the serpent were the same person?
Of course, if they hurt somebody, yeah.
Well, I'm asking about your opinion of Mr. Mothersbaugh. Would it change your opinion of Mr. Mothersbaugh if you found out that the same person you think helps people?
If the serpent had hurt somebody, then yes, it would change my opinion.
You're still gonna testify against Mr. Mothersbaugh though, aren't you, right?
Of course, if they hurt somebody, man.
Right, because Mr. Mothersbaugh, he's not the only party that you know in this case.
What do you mean? I need you to be a little more specific.
Oh, I'd be happy to, Mr. Darwish. The plaintiff, the administrator of AJ Maloney's estate, Emerson Rajon, is a good friend of yours, right?
The owner of the nightclub, he lets me perform and do my impressions.
You'd say he's your good friend?
Sure,
He called you, asked you to testify, right?
that's right.
You thought this was really weird.
Yes, I don't really get many quotes.
Well, actually, you thought it was weird because you don't remember having told Emerson Rajon anything about what had happened that night when you got that call.
That's correct. I guess you know I'm on the corner all the time.
Well, even though you don't know what she knew, you still agreed to testify, right?
He knew.
Even though you don't know if Mr. Rajon knew what you had seen, you still agreed to testify.
Yes, I want to help.
Well, actually, you wanna stay in Mr. Rajon's good graces, don't you?
As Taylor Swift says, I don't want to be anyone's bad blood.
Well, you wanna stay employed, don't you?
Of course,
He lets you work outside of his club?
sometimes inside the club.
You would agree that you definitely don't wanna get on Rajon's bad side.
No, I don't want to be on anybody's bad side.
I'm asking about Mr. Rajon, Mr. Darwish, you don't wanna get on his bad side.
I said no one.
Thank you, no further questions.
Be right now. So you were just asked all the questions about why you decided to attack us today. I understand that you didn't see the attack itself. Did you hear the defendant speaking with anyone before that attack? That you thought might be relevant?
Yes, I saw them speaking to the reporter.
What'd you hear?
Heard what I said earlier. I said, I'm going to lure them out here, be ready. Don't make it too messy.
Thank you, sir. Nothing further, Your Honor. May Mr. Darwish step down?
Yeah, no recalls, Your Honor, we're happy to have Mr. Darwish excused.
Thank you.
Defense calls no snow to the stand.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Can you introduce yourself to the jury?
Of course I can. Hiya, honeys. The legal name is Nova Stone, but I call myself Supernova because let's face it, I'm a star.
What do you do for a living, Miss Stone?
Oh, you can't tell? I serve charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. I'm a performer. You name anything, I've probably done it at least once.
Familiar with the Hellfire Lounge?
Oh, yeah, it's a nightclub downtown. You know, growing up, my father said that if I chose this lifestyle, I would rot an internal hellfire. He was wrong. I just go there on the weekends and Tuesdays, karaoke.
How long have you been a regular there?
Oh, God, years at this point. You know, I've seen them switch management, all that good stuff, but it's kind of gone off the rails as of late.
What do you mean it's gone off the rails?
Well, let me tell you, you know, recently I've seen a lot of drugs going on in that place, and it's really a shame. You know, I went to the doctor and he said that my heart rate was too high, so now I only stick to the downers, never uppers.
Do you know anyone who works at the Hellfire Lounge?
Oh, yeah, I go there so much. I know all the employees, the regulars, and the drama, if you can believe it. I think I know the most of Emerson Rajan and AJ Maloney.
As a regular at the Hellfire Lounge, are you familiar with an investigation into the Hellfire Lounge by someone named Ali Uchida?
Actually, yeah, starting in early July of last year, Miss Uchida and her partner, Teddy Mothersbaugh, let me tell you, she's a lucky lady. But she started investigating the place for the drug use and whatnot.
How often did you see Ali and Teddy at the club leading up to July 20th?
A couple of times. You know, whenever they would go, it would be Allie asking the questions, and Teddy would just be sitting off to the side, real supportive. I mean, all my ex ever did was sleep on my couch and spend all my money.
Let's talk about the night of July 20th, 2024. Oh, were you at the Hellfire Lounge that day?
So, and of course I was. It's a Saturday. It was bumping. Everybody was there.
You see Ali and Teddy there that night?
Yeah, I did. You know, they were asking questions per usual, but after a while, things started getting a little freaky, and not in the Lindsay Lohan, Jimmy Lee Curtis kind of way.
What do you mean things started getting freaky?
Oh, well, yeah, Allie was running through the club and that bouncer I was telling you about, AJ, he was running after her. Saying stuff like, I'll make sure that you never report again. I mean, it sounded kind of scary. And then guess what? He threw a punch at the back of Allie's head. Miss, thank God. But then they ran out the door and I don't know what happened next.
After you saw AJ throw a punch at Ally,
Yeah.
did you see where Teddy was while all this was happening?
No. So you see what happened is I got into a little brawl at the bar. I was dancing on the top of the tables, knocked over a drink. This guy got real mad, so I got kicked out. You guessed it, for being too beautiful. But I ended up on the side of the curb, and that's why I saw Teddy.
So before you ended up on the curb, did you see AJ ever do anything else to Ally?
Actually, yeah. A little before that, I went out to the alley before I went to the cut, of course, and I saw Ally Uchida and AJ just lying there. Yeah.
Did you actually see the attack yourself?
No, I didn't. But she looked beat up.
I want to talk about what happened when you got on the sidewalk and saw Teddy. Did you speak with him?
I did. Yeah, I was talking to him, telling him what happened in the lounge, and he said that I looked pretty rough, and I was like, rude? I mean, I look this good all the time. But he offered to buy me an Uber to the hospital. He said that he just wanted to take care of me.
What happened when you got to the hospital?
Well, I got there, I was in the waiting room for a little bit, so I decided that I could just take myself home. All I needed was 2 ibuprofen and a glass of water. But then the doors to the ER just opened, and here comes Ally. I mean, it looks like she was going in and out.
You saw Ally laying in that hospital.
Yeah.
Did you see Teddy there?
Yeah. He was nursing this black guy. Looks pretty beat up too. I didn't see it when we were on the cut, and well, he just kept on saying that, he wished he could have done more to Ally, that he doesn't know if he did enough to protect her that night.
Nothing further. Thank you.
Please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how you doing?
Can't confirm.
Well, that's good.
I just want to say, I appreciate the jokes, keeping it light, but we need to talk about if the jury can believe what you're telling them today. Okay?
Okay, sure.
Right now, sitting in that seat,
Mm-hmm.
you're sober, true?
Well, yeah, I am.
That night, July 20th, you were anything but sober, true?
Oh, honey, no, you're right. I wasn't sober. I didn't go there to be sober. It's a club, for goodness sakes.
That's right, at that club, you were hammered, true?
Oh, I wouldn't say hammered. No, I mean, I have a pretty strong stature, if you can believe it. I can handle my liquor.
Let's talk about that liquor you had.
Sure.
Because when you get to that club, you don't start walking around, true?
No, unless when I get inside the club, no.
You don't start going to the dance floor immediately, true?
No, you gotta rev up. Mhm.
To rev up, you make a beeline to that bar, true?
Well, of course.
And you start ordering drink after drink after drink.
Yeah, I started with 3 drinks. You're right.
And even before you started drinking, you told us on direct, you started taking downers.
Oh, no, sir. No, not that night. I just stick to them now on because that's what my doctor told me to do.
So since your doctor told you to take downers, you take them?
Well, yeah. I'm a party girl after all.
So being at parties, taking these downers, these drugs, that's what you do at least sometimes, true?
Yeah,
Back to that alcohol, you had 3 Hellfire highballs, true?
yeah, it's a shot of whiskey and a Red Bull, it's disgusting, but it gets you going for sure.
Even though they were disgusting, you drank every sip, true?
Yeah, I was planning there on being in all night, dancing the night away.
Is that a yes?
Yeah, that's what I said.
3 shots of tequila follow those Hellfire highballs.
Yeah, you're right, they started playing Pitbull, shot, and I had to enjoy them.
You took shots.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, with a lime.
You'd say you downed those shots almost immediately.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty good at them, a strong face, none of that, you know?
Not asking about your facial reactions to taking a shot of tequila. I'm asking about those 3 shots. You downed them. Those are your words.
Yeah, I said,
After those 3 shots, you don't stop drinking then. You order 2 more. Vodka Red Bulls, true?
a vodka soda? Yeah, you're right.
So 3 highballs, 3 shots, 2 vodka sodas. It wasn't while you were dancing the night away. That was in 90 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Now, after these 90 minutes, you told us you got into this fight, true?
Yeah,
Because you were kicked out for being too beautiful. That's what you told this jury, right?
I mean, can you believe it? They're just jealous of me.
That's a lie.
No, sir.
You got kicked out of that bar because you were in an actual fight, true?
Yeah, like I said, that little brawl.
A brawl. That's what you're telling this jury was a brawl.
Yeah,
Who was it against?
this guy at the bar, I don't know his name, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, you can't tell the jury who that person's name was. What they look like?
Well, he was about 6'4", brown hair, beautiful blue eyes. It's a real shame.
Is it your testimony today the person you got in a fight with was 6'4", blonde hair, blue eyes?
That's what, maybe? I mean, honestly, I can't remember.
You cannot remember what color hair that person had.
No, I can give a good guess.
Well, you just told us you could remember what hair, that they were blonde hair, blue eyes. Which one is it?
Well, I was just describing my type, sorry, sir.
Did you think my question was asking about your type?
No, I apologize, sorry.
So back to my question, you have no idea what color hair that person had?
No.
Because you can't remember.
No, I was pretty upset.
You weren't pretty upset, you'd say you were pretty drunk.
Well, yeah, I was definitely buzzed, for sure.
Is it your testimony that you were buzzed, or you were pretty drunk? Looking for a yes or a no?
Or hammered.
Or hammered? Thank you, drunk.
I was pretty drunk, yes, sir.
Hammered, pretty drunk, tipsy, what would you say you were?
Pretty drunk.
So since you were pretty drunk, you can't remember a single defining characteristic about that person you say you got in a brawl with.
Well, yeah, it was quite quick. Sure, it was also dark in the club, yeah.
But earlier,
Mhm.
you told us, and I wanna make sure I have this right. The quote you heard, word for word, "I'll make sure you never report again. Be ready to execute the plan." That's what you told this jury you heard, word for word, true?
I don't remember saying be ready to execute the plan, but I did say you'll never report again.
So you're telling this jury, you can remember an exact quote you heard in a dark nightclub with music going on, but you can't remember how tall the person you got in a brawl with was?
Yeah, it was pretty intense. I mean, anybody would remember anything like that. It doesn't really happen in the club.
That was an answer to some question, not my question. My question about what you can remember. You're telling this jury you can remember an exact quote, but you cannot remember what the person you got in a brawl with looked like. That's your testimony, true?
Yeah, it was pretty intense. I remember it.
Let's talk about why you're here.
Okay,
Truth is, you know this man right here, true?
I do. It's the club owner, Emerson Rajan.
You hate him.
He's not my favorite person, you're right.
Not my question. You hate him, yes or no?
Yes, you're right.
Listen, why? You hate this man? You took something away from him that meant everything.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to be more specific.
You don't know what I'm talking about?
No, could you
Please
tell me?
rephrase, please rephrase.
The Hellfire Lounge was your favorite place in the world.
Yeah, it was. It was like my second home.
You'd say it was like your first home.
Sometimes, yeah, when I skip on those, my rent.
Not asking about your rent troubles, I'm asking about whether or not it was your first home, you'd say it was.
Yeah,
You'd say that was because you were there 4 to 5 nights a week
that's exactly right.
for years.
Yeah,
But Mr. Rajan, he banned you from that bar, true?
after that little brawl, he did.
After that brawl, you'd say you were pissed at Mr. Rajan, true?
Well, of course, I gave him so much money going there 4 nights a week.
You were pissed then, and you are pissed sitting in that stand right now.
Yeah, I wanna go back.
Not asking about whether or not you want to go back, asking about if you were pissed. Yes or no?
Like I said, yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. That was perfect.
No redirect, Your Honor.
Excuse,
Yes, Your Honor.
excuse.
Wonderful. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, with that, I believe we're allowed a 15-minute recess.
Yes, that's while we're tallying our votes. Resume at 1:35. No. Oh, I'm so that day.
What do you do transactional litigation? You didn't see him.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. Oh.
Yeah, I was so wrong.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that. I didn't. My last semester, I was in-house and COVID hit. They didn't believe in
Oh, no.
so nobody would wear masks. Like, no, it's no good at all. Exactly, I'm taking your work, I'm going to my house, I'll go up. And then I started to reduce this along the way, this, they discovered that we don't know. Over and see that. Which one? Yeah, I do. But I also think that I was looking at it in my house. They had to another firm. They had a few more. And then the last one I was at was and I was just planning to SLHE. I was like, I have asthma. I was the only person in the entire office during class, you know, it's like, yeah. I survived. I did it. Definitely double check. Very good. It's an interesting, but it's such a novel for us. I believe so. Oh my God. Oh, this is wonderful. No, Your Honor, I believe.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, back on the record, regarding state of AJ Maloney versus Teddy Mothersbaugh. Are you counsel ready to proceed?
We're here, ready, we're here, ready to go, Your Honor.
Okay, let's proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm gonna call Dr. Mayo. May I proceed? Good afternoon, please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. My name is Tal Maya. Very nice to meet you all.
What do you do for work?
I'm a physician in the emergency department here at Devnath Memorial Hospital, not too far from here.
How'd you get into that?
My father, he was a cop, said to me and my three brothers, you gotta join the department. You know, Marty, well, he joined the police department. Me, I joined the emergency department. Good enough. Bill, Department of Motor Vehicles. He's the bravest out of all.
Sir, how are you qualified as a physician?
Got my bachelor's in science from Sunny Buffalo, medical degree from Johns Hopkins, did my residency. My thesis, I recently traveled to Peru to study the effects of high altitudes on the conformational changes of hemoglobin in the human fight or flight response. It was incredible.
What have you been asked to testify about today?
About a year ago, I received two individuals in my emergency department, a journalist by the name of Ali Uchida and a bouncer by the name of AJ Maloney. I was asked to analyze their injuries, sort of work back, to see if I could kind of get a picture of what happened, who might have been an aggressor, and who might have been a victim.
What kind of information did you rely on?
Conducted physical evaluations as they presented into the emergency room. I reviewed patient intake forms and some media coverage resulting in the physical characterization of these different individuals.
Can you flip up that binder in front of you to exhibits 1 and 2?
Absolutely.
Your Honor, just for the course, notice these are the actual intake forms for those two individuals.
All right, I'm with you.
Do these look fair and accurate?
Yep,
Have they been changed or altered?
doesn't look like it, no.
Your Honor, plaintiff offers exhibit 1 and 2, those are those intake forms we put about throughout trial.
No objection, Your Honor.
Wanted to accept it.
Sir, these intake forms, the other documents you told us about, did you have a certain method when reviewing them?
Sure, I mean, when every patient comes into the ER, I do a 1-minute evaluation on the attending physician, and then I delegate to my other doctors in the emergency room. So I conducted my evaluation, and then I came back and wrote these reports.
Well, with that in mind, let's talk about those injuries between Ali Nikita and Mr. Maloney are purported. All right?
Sure.
Sir, exhibit 1, that first report of Ali Nikita,
For exhibit 2, you mean?
exhibit 2, my apologies.
Right.
Could you walk us through what that says?
Of course. Ali Uchida came presenting with some minor symptoms, some contusions on the face, some bruising on the abdomen, and minor head trauma. While they were hurt, there's nothing much we could do at the emergency room. There was not much care to be done for Ali Uchida.
Sir, have you been present with us throughout trial?
I have.
Sir,
Objection, Your Honor. That's actually incorrect. Under Rule 403, this is substantially more misleading to the jury. If you recall, during pre-trial, we actually invoked Rule 603 and 615, so sequestering all witnesses barring party representatives. Dr. Meyer is not a part of it.
Your Honor, it's one of those constructive issues things, we can move on.
Okay, so the request is withdrawn.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please proceed.
Now, sir, if someone said that Ali Uchida was beaten within inches of losing their life, Is that consistent with that report's finding?
No, sir, not at all based on the physical evaluations.
So if Ms. Uchida wasn't beaten within inches of her life, I want to switch gears and talk about Mr. Maloney's injuries.
Exhibit 1, yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, what was the difference between these two individuals' injuries?
Mr. Maloney, the bouncer, received both numerous and severe injuries. It's easy to show you if I may.
Sure. Your Honor, the doctor may want to step down and explain to the jury what those
Step
injuries.
into the well.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Look into the perfect. All right, well, Mr. Alfonso, we're gonna do a little checkup here. If you could just take your jacket off for me.
Sure.
The best too.
All right. Now, doctor, what are you going to be walking this jury through?
Now, I'm gonna be placing these sticky notes on Mr. Alfonso to indicate the injuries that Mr. Maloney sustained.
What were those injuries that Mr. Maloney sustained?
Bear with me. So, Mr. Maloney suffered from a fractured humerus on the right arm, a fractured left foot, 6 broken ribs on the right side, a fractured left clavicle. He also suffered from bruising on the back and on the neck. And most critically, Mr. Maloney suffered severe head trauma to the head, causing him to have an intracranial hemorrhage.
Sir, I was following you until we got to intracranial hemorrhage. What is that?
Yes, sorry, an intracranial hemorrhage. Listen, when you get a cut on your arm, right, the blood has somewhere to go, you can bleed, or you put a bandage on it, no big deal, you let it heal. With an intracranial hemorrhage, this means there's bleeding inside your skull. There's nowhere for the blood to go. So when the pressure builds up and the cells, they start to die, well, when your brain is the control center for the rest of your body, the body shuts down pretty quickly. This is what happened to AJ Malone.
Did Ms. Uchida suffer an intracranial hemorrhage?
No evidence that I found indicated any sort of same level of force to even be able to cause that kind of damage on Mr. Chief.
Thank you, doctor. Your Honor, may he return to the witness stand?
Wait, thank you.
I'll take it. Oh, sir, you walked us through frankly, all of these injuries. Can you tell us which one happened first?
You can't actually.
Why not?
Well, either one of two things happened, right? Either Mr. Maloney suffered a blow to the head and likely rendered unconscious, and then the rest of the injuries were done while he was unconscious, or he was beaten in the body, in the torso, the extremities, concluded with a final blow to the head. You just can't really know.
Sir, we talked a lot about quantity of injuries. I want to switch gears and talk about severity. You see that hammer in front of you?
I do.
Do you know what that is?
This was the weapon used to injure Mr. Maloney. With a weapon like this, well, that's heavy and hard enough to cause something like an intracranial hemorrhage.
So in your review of this case and when you treated Ms. Uchida, did you find any evidence that Ms. Uchida was ever struck with that hammer?
None of her physical injuries were consistent with that. No.
Were Mr. Maloney's injuries?
Unfortunately, they were.
Sir, if you're telling us that this hammer was only used against Mr. Maloney, what's your ultimate conclusion for this case?
It's my conclusion that Mr. Maloney was the victim of a very violent attack. When you think of a victim and an aggressor, think about it with me here. An aggressor would have broken knuckles, a bruised hand, fractured wrist. You didn't see that. On the other hand, a victim, they'd have bruising on the back, the neck, torso, extremities. That's what we saw. But it's important to remember this case has not concluded.
What do you mean the case hasn't concluded?
Mr. Maloney, he's still in a coma. I'm still taking care of him every day. He may wake up and tell us what happened, but until then, I'm gonna remain vigilant with my colleagues and continue his care.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, nothing further.
Thoughts, Your Honor?
Maybe it's not wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't, signal.
Oh.
Oh.
You're talking about the rest of your phone.
Your car went back there.
I don't think it's that kind of shot.
All right, no more, I'll keep these away.
Okay, let me know if you want to put some on me too.
Right.
Dr. Meyer, you work at a hospital here in Cal City, right?
That's right.
Before that, you worked over in Dodge City for about 15 years, correct?
That's true, not too far away.
You worked there and you saw a lot of violent crime, didn't you?
Yes. It seems to be a trend there of vigilantes, who just kind of wearing masks and going around trying to solve crimes.
That's exactly right, Dr. Meyer. You saw a lot of violent crime caused by vigilantes, correct?
Right. And, I get the brunt of it. I deal with the injuries and, I mean, I'd do anything to knock them down. It's a lot that I deal with.
That is exactly right, Dr. Meyer. You're a couple steps ahead of me. You would do anything to knock those vigilantes down. I have that right?
Of course, some of them do monstrous things on people.
Surely, Dr. Meyer, you would never let your personal agenda affect your professional capacity as a doctor, right?
Of course not. I signed the Hippocratic Oath.
Let's see if that's true. Because a year ago today, you examined a patient named Ali Uchida, is that correct?
That's right.
And you talked a little bit about that intake form on your rec examination. You still have that in front of you?
I do. Exhibit 2, yeah.
Now, before you conducted the examinations that resulted in this intake form, you knew that Ali Uchida was pro-vigilante, correct?
Yeah, she's a well-known reporter around here.
You knew she was pro-vigilante, that's a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
And you didn't have a good opinion of her before you examined, right?
As a person, sure, I'm anti-vigilante, but as a patient, she's just like anybody else.
Dr. Meyer, I'd appreciate if you'd stick to my questions. You don't. You didn't have a good opinion of Ali Uchida before you examined her.
As a person, no.
I want to talk about what you discovered in your examination, because you told us that you saw a couple of abrasions on her shoulder. Or
That's
on her
right.
body.
That's right.
You saw a wrenched right shoulder.
Yes, ma'am.
You said she didn't dislocate her shoulder.
No, I indicated here that there was no dislocation.
She didn't break any bones.
No, ma'am.
She didn't have any head trauma, right?
No.
That night, you spent 6 hours evaluating the people involved in that fight, right?
Right, I did my initial 1-minute assessment and then.
6 hours, Dr. Meyer?
Objection, Your Honor, point of order. The witness should be allowed to finish his answer. He was elaborating on what exactly those injuries were.
Your Honor, no elaboration necessary. It was a yes or no question.
More general issues, allow the witness to complete the answer, even if it's non-responsive, you can redirect the witness to your question. If the witness persists in failing to answer the question, I'll jump in, but be mindful of allowing the witness to complete an answer.
Of course, Your Honor. Now, you were saying you spent 6 hours that night evaluating people related to that fight.
Yes, ma'am. I do my initial assessment and then I spent 6 hours.
You spent 15 hours in total evaluating and now analyzing the 3 people involved in that fight, right?
Right, there were a lot of injuries.
You only spent 1 minute analyzing Ali Uchida.
Right, ma'am, I'm the attending physician. I do an initial assessment, that's 1 minute, and then I delegate to another physician.
Now, I had Mr. Leander start a timer before, and I just had to stop it. Can you read the number that's on the screen?
3 minutes and 20 seconds.
3 minutes and 20 seconds. That's 3 times the amount of time you spent evaluating this issue.
3 times 3 minutes, right. Initial assessments as part of procedure are 1 minute long. It's how it works, ma'am.
You spent 3 times the amount of time speaking to me than you spent evaluating a patient who came into your hospital initially unresponsive. Do I have that right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am, I'm not the only person with an MD in my emergency department. I can't attend to everybody.
Is it your testimony that somebody else evaluated Alexi after you?
Somebody treated her after me, of course.
Is it your testimony that somebody other than yourself had anything to do with the conclusions in this intake?
Ma'am, let me be clear. This is for the initial assessment. I do that, I'm the attendant. And then I delegate to other doctors that are in the emergency department. I mean, it'd be like as if I'm treating everybody in this room. I only have so many hands.
One moment. Please carry this question. Short response to the council. Please re-answer your question.
Dr. Meyer, is it your testimony that somebody else in your hospital contributed to this intake form?
Ma'am, I wrote the form. It's what I do. Other people can treat her, and then I can go back and write the form. It's just my job to write.
So did anybody else?
Doctor, the question, if anyone else contributed.
I wrote it, other people contributed to the information. That's what I'm trying to make clear.
Your answer to the question is yes, with your explanation follows. Is that right?
Absolutely. I'm just trying to, the procedure is quite complicated. I'm just trying to explain it for you here so we're clear on what happened with these patients. It's important.
So it is your testimony that somebody else evaluated Alexi.
Evaluated, yes. Wrote this, no. This is just me.
Do you have your report there in front of you?
I'm not sure.
Would you like a copy, Dr. Meyer?
Sure.
Your Honor, may I approach Dr. Meyer?
You have an extra copy for the court?
Your Honor, I believe you should have one in that one.
Let me see. Yes.
Sure. Yes, sir.
You may proceed.
Dr. Meyer, you don't mention the name of a single other attendant.
Objection, Your Honor, is to an improper impeachment. We're objecting now, you can't unmove the bell.
Wow, counsel's complete question. Objection.
Yes, sir.
Counsel.
Dr. Meyer, you talk about Alexi's injuries and your treatment of her for a paragraph within that report, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You don't mention the name of any other physicians in that paragraph.
Objection, Your Honor, is to an improper impeachment. It's hearsay.
Your Honor, Dr. Meyer's testimony just now was that other people attended Alexi. That is an ambush. That is not Dr. Meyer's testimony before today's trial, nor is it contained within that report. Your Honor, this is a perfectly valid.
Responsible. Yes, Your Honor. At several points, one of them being line 60, line 67.
Start with page first,
Yes, Your Honor.
page 3.
Yes, Your Honor. If we could start on page 3, line 60 through 61, Your Honor. Your Honor, line 60 clearly says, when we received AJ Maloney, things weren't looking good. Also, Your Honor, from lines 67 through 68, naturally, we did everything we could. And Your Honor, I can continue going throughout the rest of this report. Clearly, this doctor cannot impossibly be the only attending physician in an entire hospital. As this doctor testified, he did write every word in that report. However, other doctors in an emergency room surely would have contributed and made sure that Alexi was treated further on. Your Honor, this is an improper impeachment.
Are you basing that assumption because of the usage of the pronoun we in line 60 through 67?
Yes, Your Honor, and as well as several other parts in this witness's sworn affidavit.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Nichols.
Your Honor, firstly, opposing counsel's objection was to hearsay and improper impeachment. No statement has actually been elicited from this report. Secondly, you'll notice that Mr. Alfonso's line cited specifically concerned AJ Malone. My questioning and my line of questioning was specifically to the treatment of Alexi. These are two separate issues.
Counsel.
Your Honor. Your Honor, the objection is an impeachment. They are using an out-of-court statement. The truth of the matter is trying to tackle witnesses' credibility. The objection stands. It's also extraordinarily misleading to present to the jury the possibility this doctor is the only one in an emergency room. Clearly, through this affidavit, Dr. Mayor is not listing other physicians' names in the hospital. That was nowhere in his actual report presented today, but he does clearly say that there are other doctors and other around. Yes, treating Mr. Maloney, of course they'd be treating other individuals.
Well, you've raised many good points, thorough grounds for cross-examination or examination. However, the objection is overruled.
Yes, Your Honor.
Proceed, given short on time, counsel.
You spent a minute examining Ms. Uchida? Yes?
Yes, ma'am. Would you like me to circle where I mentioned the other position?
That's all right. You're free to do so on redirect.
Oh, okay.
Your Honor, that's all.
Thank you, counsel.
No regard, Your Honor.
May the witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor, we have nothing further.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The defense calls Leighton Wilt to the stand.
Sorry about that.
Remove that. Please proceed, counsel.
Good afternoon. Can you introduce yourself to the jury?
Of course I can. Hello dear, my name is Alexi Wilt. Pleasure.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Wilt?
Oh, well, I am a forensic scientist right here in Tower City.
What do you do as a forensic scientist?
Oh, well, I take the physical evidence from the scene of the crime. I do an analysis of it, and then I try and piece together the events that happened as a part of the incident. You know, it's kind of like that show CSI Miami, except we're not in Miami, and I spend most of my time on my lab alone. It's okay, I find it quite fun.
Could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Of course. Well, I graduated with a double major in chemistry and biology from Tufts University, go Elephants. Afterwards, I went to Florida State University to get my master's in forensic science. Shortly thereafter, I worked for the TCPD as a crime scene investigator. And then I jumped ship over to a private investigating firm where I worked on cases just like this one.
How'd you get involved in this case?
Well, Teddy Mothersbaugh actually reached out to me, asked if I could take a closer look at the evidence collected at the July 2024 Hellfire Lounge incident. I was happy to.
What information did you rely on for your analysis?
Sure. I relied on most of the exhibits in today's case. I collected my own physical evidence at the scene, as well as some evidence from AJ Maloney's body. And then I relied on a photo of the alley itself. But it was all more than enough to make any conclusions I did in this case.
And how did you go about analyzing all this information?
Sure. I use this standard method in my field. I call it the CAP method. You know, I tell all my interns in the office that it's the perfect method to use. They gave me the same response that you just did today.
What exactly is the CAP?
Oh, sure. The C stands for collection. You arrive at the scene and you collect all the physical evidence that you can. And then you take it back to the lab to run tests on it. That's the analysis, the A. And then finally rewrite it, the T. You use your experience both at the scene at the crime and the results from the test to try and put together a timeline of the incidents.
Is this reliable in your field?
Yeah, absolutely it is.
So let's start with the first step of that method,
Sure.
collecting. How did the process of collecting evidence start?
Well, right, I showed up the morning after the incident on July 21st of 2024 with TCPD, where I surveyed the alleyway and marked exactly where I found that physical evidence.
Your Honor, I want the jury to get a better picture of the area that he's surveying. Would you mind turning to Exhibit 3
Right,
in that binder in front of you?
of course, they can, just give me a moment to find it. Oh.
I'm just holding that up here and see.
Sure.
What did I just hand you?
Well, this looks like the photograph of the alley, yeah.
Your Honor, I'd like to publish a copy of that picture to the jury.
One moment.
No objections to three, Your Honor. So published.
So what did you do when you got to the scene?
Oh, sure. I surveyed the land with the police department and I marked exactly where all the physical evidence I collected was from.
What evidence did you collect?
Sure. I collected blood and hair samples from this scene. I then took them back to my lab to run a few analysis on them, thus bringing us to our second part of my method.
And what were the results of your analysis on the blood?
Sure. The blood that I found came as a conclusive match for that of AJ Malone.
I want to talk about the last part of your method, the timeline. How did you piece together a timeline with the evidence you collected?
Well, sure. The blood was particularly helpful in creating that timeline. You know, I could sit up here all day and try and explain it to you, but I think it might be better if I got down and showed you. Do you mind?
Your Honor, would that be all right?
Well, wonderful, thank you. And you, sir, do you have your phone on you by chance?
Got it right here.
I promise I'll keep it safe.
Sounds
Thank you
good.
much. And the best way to do this would actually be to turn off the lights for a second. Do you mind?
Certainly don't. Any objections?
Curious to see what happens.
Great. Thank you, friend.
Just hope it comes back on.
Absolutely, me too, Your Honor. Okay, so let's say that I am AJ Malone in the alleyway at night, and that this flashlight is representative of my blood. Now, we know that AJ Maloney was there because his blood was there, but we can actually tell if he was the primary aggressor based on that blood pattern. If he was attacked, his blood would pool around him should he be standing still, just like this light is right here.
Well, did the blood at the scene suggest that AJ was standing still that night?
No, actually the contrary. What I found was AJ Maloney's blood was scattered around the crime scene, just like this light is moving around this room right here. It showed up on the walls, the floors, and all around the concrete.
Is that all you noticed about AJ Maloney's blood at the scene?
It's actually not. As AJ Maloney's blood was being splattered, I noticed that there was an interruption in the blood pattern. Just like if I point this light at Miss Meta, you see how you can see her shadow on the wall? When I arrived at the scene, there was a gap similar to that matched the same size and shape of Ali Uchida, thus suggesting that she was on the floor, already beaten by the time that AJ Maloney started bleeding.
All right, is that all you're done?
Oh, yes, sorry, I'll get this light out of your eyes, and if we could turn the lights on again, well, look at that, it worked.
Mr. Well, I want to understand what all this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is the fact that AJ Maloney's blood was everywhere and that there was an interruption in his blood suggest about what happened in the alleyway?
Of course, well, because of the blood pattern and the gap in the interruption in the blood that matched the size and shape of Ali Uchida, I was able to conclude that at the time that AJ Maloney was struck, he had already beaten down Ali Uchida, meaning he was the primary aggressor and that he was only attacked after he had started the attack by the vigilante.
Nothing further.
Would you like your phone back?
I would. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Counsel, please proceed when ready.
Yes,
We will, how about yourself? Of course.
May I proceed? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, how you doing?
Pretty well.
It's good to hear.
Thank you.
Of course.
Sir, I want to start real simple. Can you give this jury your definition of the word proportional?
Well, it's kind of hard to explain, but sure, an equal amount of force, I would say, sure.
Right. Something that's proportional is an equal amount of force. Those are your words, right?
Yeah, I'm not Merriam-Webster's dictionary, but I could try, yeah.
But that's the definition you just gave this jury, true?
It is,
See this gentleman right here?
I do, hi.
If this gentleman
Mhm.
punches me in the face and I take a hammer and beat his brains in, certainly that's not proportional, something that's equal, true?
Well, I don't know if I would consider that proportional, no.
Alright, so you agree with me? Something like that, that's certainly not proportional, true?
Well, a punch in the face is a lot different than beating somebody with a hammer till the brains fall.
There's completely different, those are your words, right, sir?
I would say so, yeah.
Can we get the lights off again by any chance?
Oh, wonderful, fine.
Gotcha. Because you told this story while these lights were on. Which one do you think?
It's gonna be the left.
In the top one, maybe? There we go.
Sir, you've shown a flashlight. Told this story, Mr. Maloney's blood on the walls of that alley, true?
Yes, that's right, around the scene.
On the floor of that alley, true?
That's right.
You said verbatim. Mr. Maloney's blood was everywhere.
Yes, I was able to collect samples from various parts of the alleyway, you're correct.
The reason why Mr. Maloney's blood was everywhere in that alley? He was beaten, true?
That's correct, he was involved in a physical altercation with the mass vigilante.
You know what those injuries were, right?
I am familiar with this intake report, that I am.
6 broken bones,
You're testing my memory here, but yes.
internal bleeding.
Do you want me to open it to the paper?
Sir, I'm just asking for a yes or a no. Internal bleeding.
I believe so, you're correct.
As you said, blood on the wall.
Yes,
Mr. Cheetah. You commented that.
not that I can remember, no, sir.
Her blood on the wall.
No, I did not collect any blood samples from that of Miss Alexi.
So I'll ask you. Do you think it's proportional for someone with blood all over the walls in the alley? To someone who just had a bruise?
I don't know if it was just a bruise, sir, but I would need to have a lot more information before I was able to determine if it was proportional.
Let's give you that information. You open up to exhibit 2.
Happy to. I'm there.
Those are Mr. Cheetah's injuries, right?
It would appear so.
You can see as well as I can. Scratches, true?
Could you point me where on the page?
It says a contusion.
Yes, contusions on the cheek and abdomen.
Bruises as well.
Minor abrasions on hip region.
So sir, I'll ask you again, are those injuries proportional?
Again, I would have to know more information, sir.
One of the ways you could get more information is by talking to people involved, true?
Sure.
So surely you did that.
No, sir, I did not speak to any of the people that were involved in the physical altercation that day.
So it would have been helpful if you just didn't do it.
It could be helpful, yes, you're right.
And you didn't do it.
And no, it was not a part of my investigation.
Sort of talking to individuals, asking what happened isn't a part of your investigation.
It was not a part of this investigation, no, sir.
So you told us about a CAT method. C is for collecting evidence, true?
Yes, that's correct.
Surely it's extraordinarily important to collect evidence properly, right?
Absolutely.
You didn't collect evidence properly in this case.
Oh, I resent that. Of course I did.
It's your testimony that you resent the implication that you collected evidence improperly?
Yes,
Sir, it's true. There was some fresh blood on the scene of that crime,
Yes,
and you made an error in collecting it.
not exactly. It was either an error on that of the police or myself that made that made the blood untestable to find any conclusive matches.
Was that a yes or a no to my question?
I'm sorry, I just needed to add a little bit of context. The fresh blood sample that was not AJ Maloney's was untestable. You are correct.
It was only untestable because it was an error you made,
Either me or the police department, that you're right.
and it was an error.
Correct.
You also found evidence of skin cells underneath Mr. Maloney's nails, true?
That's right. Whenever he was admitted into the hospital, the physicians were actually able to collect some of his skin cells. Unfortunately, however, I misplaced them, and that I will completely own up to.
You misplaced it. Where is it?
Like I said, sir, I misplaced it. I do not have an answer for you.
I'm sorry, doctor, where is it? If you misplaced it, was it in your lab?
Again, I could not tell you. I misplaced it. If I knew where it was, I would be able to test it, sir.
Did you accidentally throw it into an incinerator?
No, I just misplaced it, sir.
You tell me you just misplaced this evidence. You told us that right before that answer, you would own up to that as a professional, true?
Absolutely. Of course, I remain vigilant in order to make sure that these mistakes do not happen, but everybody's human. These mistakes do end up happening from time to time.
That is not what you call this mistake in your report.
It's an error. Yes, sir.
Wasn't my question. You, in your report, you do not say this is an extremely professional mistake, do you?
No, sir, that's not what I just said, though.
Sir, in your report, you call this mistake of misplacing evidence?
Bummer.
Not like that, sir. It certainly is unfortunate, a bummer that I am not able to test that evidence.
Sir, I'm not asking about whether or not you can test that evidence, that's not the word you chose to describe the situation. You say bummer, true?
It is correct. It certainly would have been helpful in my investigation.
Doctor, it would have been helpful, but this mistake you made misplacing this evidence, you'd say it's a bummer, yes or no?
As I've said before, yes, you're right.
Sir, you only misplaced this evidence after the defendant brought you on to this case.
That's correct.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Sorry.
Very brief redirect now.
Wonderful.
Mr. Wilt, as a forensic scientist, do you usually interview people for your forensic analyses?
It's certainly a part of other people's processes. I must admit, it's not always a part of mine.
Were you at the scene of the crime when the attack happened?
You know, I was not. I arrived the next morning on July 21st.
Well, based on the evidence you did collect and the forensic evidence you found, what can you tell us about who was the primary aggressor?
The primary aggressor in that physical altercation was AJ Malone.
Nothing.
Before we submit ballots on this one, can I talk to them? Yeah, even witness could be interested if everything's done, I think chat before we submit ballots.
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna be recrossed.
There's not gonna be a recross, Your Honor.
So may the witness be excused.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you much. It was a pleasure.